All right, this is amazing. So Jordan Peterson is there.
Yeah.
And as he came down the stairs, all of these young generation next leaders of the world came down to say hi. That's Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin, and it's amazing. Check this out. Well, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great day.
There's Crowder Sr. talking to Jordan. Look at this, like a rock star of intellect.
I hear.
All right, this is amazing. So Jordan Peterson is there.
Yeah.
And as he came down the stairs, all of these young generation next leaders of the world came down to say hi. That's Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin, and it's amazing. Check this out.
Okay, my goodness. Hold on.
Well, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great day.
There's Crowder Sr. talking to Jordan.
I can't turn it off. Where did I?
Look at this, like a rock star of intellect.
I'm going to turn this off in a second.
All right, this is amazing. So Jordan Peterson is there.
Yeah, we've seen this already.
And as he came down the stairs, all of these young generation next leaders of the world came down to say hi. That's Jordan Peterson, Dave Rubin.
Hallelujah, people. Sorry, hold on. There's a couple of things that are driving me crazy now. Going to make sure that we're live. Camera's a little off. We can see the clock right there, so we know what time and day it is, but the camera is... Yeah, that's a little better. I'm an idiot. I haven't been on my computer in 2 days. Now I got to go stop the camera from moving. Oh, my goodness. We're going to have quite the show today, people. We have Pat King. Pat King, if you don't know, we're starting Canadian stuff. I know everybody wants to talk about the American stuff because the world seems to be going to hell in a handbasket. Let me just get the camera down here. Stop. There we go. The world seems to be going to hell in a handbasket faster than we can keep up, and I find myself saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. Oh, I'm going to touch the camera again. It's always darkest before the dawn, but my goodness, when is the sun going to start rising again? That was Jordan Peterson at the RNC primaries debate, which I will talk about afterwards. Do the interview with Pat King, and then we're going to get into the American stuff. I didn't notice Billboard Chris. I noticed it the night of, but as I'm shooting this, I look afterwards, I see Billboard Chris just posted a picture with Jordan Peterson at that spot. I was like, holy cow, wasn't I just recording that video? And it turned out that Billboard Chris was also there at the RNC primaries debate in Milwaukee. What an evening that was for anybody who watched it. Okay, let me just make sure that everything's good here. We're live on YouTube, where we will be ending either shortly during the interview or afterwards. We're live on Rumble, and we are live on Locals. Today's show, I will talk about the primaries debate, my experience in Milwaukee, what I think of the debate, Tucker Carlson's interview of Donald Trump, holy crap. I mean, you think Canada's going down the sewer. It's happening at an exponentially fast rate everywhere. America, people have to appreciate this. Florida's a beautiful state. It's a free state. America is the last bastion of liberty in this world. But my goodness, are they doing their best to end that? Holy crap. They got the mugshot with Donald Trump. They've locked up one of the 18 or 19 indicted individuals. I forget his name now. His name was Floyd. His last name is Floyd. I remember that because I found it quite ironic. Locked up. One of the defendants in Georgia didn't get out on bond because they didn't negotiate a bond. They got Trump's mugshot. They got the mugshot of all of Trump's lawyers. They have now indicted, arrested, booked lawyers for giving legal theory advice. Former presidents, they want their mugshot. They want their Winston's face in the mirror. This is 1984. And they got it. I don't know what the repercussions are going to be of this, but it's a race to the socialist, communist, tyrannical bottom. And my goodness, Canada and the US are like, they're neck and neck. Canada might be a little bit ahead of the curve. Pat King one of Canada's political prisoners. You may think you don't like him. I was Googling Pat King's most controversial statements before doing this interview. I got to tell you, they're not even that bad. We'll talk about them, though. Pat King is one of the trucker peeps who got locked up. He got locked up for 5.5 months, denied bail on mischief and incitement to mischief charges because the judge wasn't convinced that he wouldn't go out and recommit crime. So they locked him up for 5 months. We're going to talk about that. If you don't know who Pat King is, you're going to know who Pat King is after this. So the question is, we're probably going to go to YouTube, Rumble, leave YouTube, this censorship, pee-pee-soaked heckhole, to quote The Simpsons, who just nuked Jason Levine's channel, and I'm trying to put a little pressure so that they can maybe reestablish it. We'll go over to Rumble, have the party there. Then we're going to go over to Locals afterwards, and there's a special. We're going to have our Locals interview winner, Crazy D73. We're going to interview her. We're going to have a discussion with one of our local supporters on Locals afterwards. The link to Rumble is there. Before I bring Pat in, you may have noticed this stream said contains a paid sponsorship. And it does. Do I look young or do I not look young, people? I'm 44 years young, 44 years old. My back hurts. My knees crack when I get up. But I don't know if you've noticed any improvement in my facade, in my face. Let me just look at my face here. Hold on. Let me bring this back out for 1 second. Remove. My anger wrinkle is getting deeper and deeper. Not anger, I should say disappointment. My disappointment wrinkle is getting deeper and deeper. But Genucell people, if I look younger, if you notice any difference, that might be why. Might also just be a total coincidence. Genucell, a sponsor of the channel, a sponsor of this particular stream today, and I thank them. I spent some time on the phone with this company to make sure that it's a good product. Made in America, the story of this company is the American dream. An Egyptian pharmacist comes to America, starts his own pharmacy, has his own proprietary blends of cream that are so successful they literally sell themselves. He gives them to some of his customers. They say, we want more of this, and thus a company is born. They've got that retinol stuff, which makes your skin younger and bouncier, and apparently you can use it if you put suntan lotion on and you can go outside with it afterwards. They've got skin products. It's made in America. They are the sponsors of the New Jersey Devils. People swear by it, and if you notice any difference in me, that might be why. Go to Genucell.com, promo code VIVA for 70% off the most popular package. And support the sponsors who support the people who have unpopular, what is it called? The fringe minority with unacceptable views. Genucell.com, promo code VIVA. It's awesome stuff. Everyone highly recommends it. Made in America. 50 some odd employees. New Jersey, sponsors of the New Jersey Devils. Thank you very much. All right, now speaking of the hinged, fringed minority holding unacceptable views, there are a few Canadians who apparently hold more unacceptable views than Pat King. I'm going to let Pat King introduce himself. Well, I've talked about him with Jeremy McKenzie. I've talked about him in the past because whatever you think you know or don't know about Pat King, you know where they lock up people for, what was it, 5.5 months on nonviolent mischief charges? North Korea, Russia, and Canada. There you go. Well done, Trudeau. All right, I'm bringing him in. Pat, get ready. Now, Pat might be, he may or may not be able to talk about everything freely because Pat's out of jail, awaiting his upcoming trial, which could send him away for a little bit of time because mischief in Canada, oh, it's just mischief. Yeah, it carries a maximum sentence of 10 years. Pat, okay, so first of all, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I was going to say how goes the battle, but I can only anticipate 30,000-foot overview, just so that people may or may not know who you are. Who are you?
Well, I'm just a regular old Canadian guy, oil and gas worker for 20 years. Watched how this country has been going down the hill for a while, decided to speak up back in about 2018, 2019. And I've been advocating against this regime that we have for a political entity under Mr. Fancy Socks. I don't even like saying his name because it's like nails down a chalkboard for me. But we've been able to discover and investigate a lot of the corruption here and tried to get it to the table, to get it to the appropriate authorities, and nobody will listen to us. And once again, we decided that, Canada had enough. We took a little trip to Ottawa and well, I guess the rest is kind of history.
Gotten deep shit. Well, we're gonna get into that. Are you born in Sault Ste. Marie? Is that what?
Yeah, I was born in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I moved out to Alberta when I was 18. Just a backpack of I'm going hiking across Canada, and I got stuck in Red Deer, Alberta. I wouldn't call it stuck. It's been my home now since 1997. I love it out here. It's the only place that's ever been able to give me a prosperous life. Family, kids, a home, a job, and never had to worry about food on my table. But I know the rest of the country has those issues. You've got the Maritimes with those issues. You've got the Eastern Ontario with those issues, British Columbia with those issues. But Alberta has been a blessing. And they're trying to take Alberta away from us. They're trying to hinder us in every way in our oil and gas industry. You got to remember, we are like the Texas of America. Of Canada. We're considered Texas. We're floating on the oil and gas out here. And when Fancy Socks got into it, he initially formulated two bills, Bill C-68 and C-40, C-69 and C-48, which is the anti-pipeline bill and the anti-harbor moratorium against only Canadian ships being able to get our products to market. He bought up a pipeline for $400 million that had nothing to do with the Canadian government. It was the Kinder Morgan pipeline. It was being twinned anyway due to safety regulations. And once he got into office, he immediately bought it up and shut down the project. So being an oil and gas worker, understanding how this all works, we knew that it was a direct attack against Alberta and direct attack against Canada's gross domestic product. So we decided to formulate a protest back in 2019, in February 14th, 2019. We took a convoy to Ottawa. We sat on Parliament Hill with our trucks, about 178 or so trucks, and we actually had our voices heard. We stood there. We said, you know what? This is our issue. Politicians came out. They paid attention to our needs.
They talked to you. It's amazing.
They talked to us, and then we left 2 days later. And we had our pipelines reinstated for the projects that were going at the time. So fast forward now to 2020. 2020.
Hold on. Before we fast forward, let's back up just a little bit. May I ask how old you are?
Oh, I'm 46. I just turned 46 years old.
46. So you move out to Alberta at 18.
Yeah.
I just, for my own satisfaction, as leading up to 18, are you a troublemaker as a kid? Are you a free thinker? And how does it be that you end up leaving at 18 to go to Alberta?
Well, define troublemaker. I was just a regular kid, right? Like we had our issues. Yeah, we threw crab apples at neighbors. We Nicky nine-doored. We did those kind of things. And at what happened was I was at 18 years old, and where I'm from, it's either you work in a plant, you work in a facility, the steel mills, the paper mills, or you work in the mines or in the lumber industry in Northern Ontario. And when I was 18, it was you don't plan on going to college. You're a mill worker, and that's what you are. So what I decided is, well, I'll go get into college and get working on my millwright. I was going to be a millwright in the plant at home. And my first 3 months into college, they shut down our steel mill, and 53,000 people were out of a job. So there was pink slips handed to them at the gates, and I was like, well, what do I do? Holy crap. Like, this is our livelihood. This is what our city thrives on. This is the only income for our city. So I saw 300 people lining up for a job at a Wendy's. We had just got a Wendy's in the community, and I seen all these people. And I'm like, how do you compete to go flip burgers? What do I do? Like, and the EI office was right nearby, or the job bank. And we looked up on the job bank, where is the most jobs in Canada? And it turned out that Red Deer had over 5,000 opportunities at the time. And I just got my backpack, said to heck with this. I was young. I figured, a backpacking trip across Canada, why not? And I ended up I found heaven. I found heaven out here.
Amazing. So at 18 years old, this now then is 1994?
97.
97.
Yeah.
And so
97, 98.
So 18 years old, you get out there and you start working the oil fields?
I initially started working in a slaughter plant in Brooks, Alberta. I worked in a beef plant. It's actually deemed one of the worst one of the worst facilities to work in all of Canada. It's actually has that record. It's really horrible.
In terms of risk to employees, or in terms of conditions for the animals?
Conditions, risk to the employees, the whole nines, everything. Okay. It's gross. It's gross. You're walking around in ankle deep blood. You're cutting the heads off cows. It's bad. It's bad. But I worked there for about 18 months, and then I got a job on an oil rig with some guys that I met in a bar. We were at the bar one night, and they said, "Oh, you Easterners think you can work our work and do our jobs?" And like, yeah, we can do anything you guys can do. Yeah, absolutely. Boy, was I surprised. I showed up to work. I worked for about 3 months, and I worked myself to the bone. Hard work. And the company that I had worked for had sold out and been bought out by a company out of Red Deer. So I went up to Red Deer to follow that company, and the rest is history. I worked my way up from roughneck, entry-level position, to a derrick hand, to a driller, to a tool push, to a senior supervisor, to a flowback specialist, to a completion specialist, which is upstream, downstream oil and gas industry, all by the labor of my back. My skills came at the job. You didn't need a college education at the time. You know, we just walked onto the job. And then throughout my career, I had absolute amazing opportunities, big projects, been part of some revolutionary trade changes and I was at the forefront, one of the leading supervisors in it, in these big horizontal fracking procedures, and then became a flowback specialist and then a completion specialist. And from there, I decided I'm going to go back to university, and I got a degree in occupational health, safety, and environment. So I got a 3-year degree from the University of Alberta up in Edmonton, with health and safety and environment. So not only was I kind of a very knowledgeable, I'm not going to call myself an expert, but very knowledgeable in the field of oil and gas. Now I had the education to back it up as well. So with the education,
for my own personal benefit, are you working while you're doing the 3-year program?
No, not at the time. So what happened was I ended up having an injury. I fell 30 feet, shattered both my legs, and broke my back. And then I had my leg removed because of complications. So I have a prosthetic leg from below the knee. And I needed to do something. I couldn't do the hard labor anymore. So I decided to go back to school. And I got my degree, and the rest is history. I worked as a health and safety advisor for an upstream and downstream oil and gas, and learned how basically environmental issues within a workplace, such as airborne contaminants, enriched oxygen atmospheres, and basically lots of pressures and stuff. But my background was in industrial hygiene. It was testing environments for contaminants in your air. So we ended up working that job. I ended up losing my job due to a conflict of interest. I stood my ground under the safety guidelines, under the safety hat, and it didn't go well. And when it happened, it was right around the time of 2018 that they started attacking our industry. Well, they started attacking it in 2015.
As soon as Trudeau came into office, he basically started attacking oil and gas out west.
Absolutely. So it was tough for us to find more work out there. And I started reading more and researching more and following what was going on. Yeah, this one of your viewers says OSHA. It's exactly like OSHA in the States. I'm trained under OSHA and I'm trained under OH&S here.
I had no idea you lost a leg, actually. I had no idea about that injury.
Yeah, I had a surgery because of complications. I tried 14 surgeries to try and put my leg back together, and it didn't go well. So I opted to take it off. I said, no, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And I want this off, which also got me off all the medications that we were on, due to the pain and the inflammation and all the stuff that complicated my leg. Once I got off the meds, I barely even take a Tylenol anymore. I won't take any meds because I seen what they were doing to me.
Just for my own curiosity again, things like Ghost Itch, do you still have
Phantom pains, yeah. The Ghost Itch will drive you nuts, actually. Luckily, I don't have that.
And this will be the last question on this. I could go for a while on this subject alone, but learning to walk with a prosthetic limb, how hard is that?
it was like a duck to water. My leg was already messed up already. So getting the new limb back, getting the prosthetic on was nothing. It was easy. I was actually back to work up in the Arctic 3 months later, working flowback and just on the border of the Northwest Territories. So
amazing. Well, on this now introduction, people, we're going to end on YouTube because I think I want to get into some stuff that we don't know how YouTube deals with these things anymore, because it's going to involve why you got arrested and your appearance on well, it's going to touch into the COVID stuff and how I first discovered you. So this changes nothing from our end. Everybody come on over to Rumble. The link is in the pinned comment. Removing from YouTube. Come on over to